Welcome, 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 Ragers. It's another episode of Red Pill Rage, the podcast. Make sure you are subscribed on iTunes and Spotify. Make sure to go visit the Patreon at American 5%. Make sure to go visit my website, www.redpillrage.net. You can get all the socials. If you're not already on my TikTok, you should get on my TikTok. I'm blowing up on TikTok, or at least I was. But I will jump back in the game as soon as possible, bringing you guys super funny videos like being a dumbass Democrat, etc. Anyway, Ragers, Patriots, I wanted to bring up something that I didn't quite know there was a name for it. I knew it because we had learned about it in economics class. We learned about supply and demand in economics class. And if any of you remember back, you understand that sometimes, the job of a marketing department is to create the demand. And when you minimize the supply, you can always make a ton of money doing that. Not to mention, you can create a psychological craze that will force your customers to find it to be your product to be more valuable than it really is. Now, there's lots of ways that that can translate into politics, but luckily, I have found my friend Mikey here.
Hello.
Welcome to the show, Mikey. Mikey found he found the actual definition for what that is, and that is called the.
Well, we've had a discussion about how to pronounce it, and it depends on which website you go to. But it's the Hegelian dialectic,
Which took me about 3 days to figure out how to pronounce. How many like versions of this word did I just completely decimate?
Honestly, every time I asked you, it was to get a good
kick. The hydrogen dialect. I mean, I had so many. But anyway, let's talk. I want to give you guys the actual definition of this word, and then we're going to go ahead and talk about the two pronunciations that I found for it. But anyway, the Hegelian dialect.
And I don't want to take any credit saying I found. She might have misspoke there. There's plenty of good people out there. Crow 777 or SGT report. Great guys. They do good research.
The Hegelian dialect. Noun. An interpretive method originally used to relate specific entities or events to an absolute idea. In some assertable proposition, i.e., the thesis, is necessarily opposed by an equally assertable and apparently contradictory proposition, the antithesis, the mutual contradiction being reconciled on a higher level of truth by a third proposition, the synthesis. Wow. All right. So that's a lot to process. And you guys have got to have taken English 101 to understand any of that. Now, I'm not here to give an English lesson. You should all be at grade level. Even if you didn't graduate, you should have taken it as one of your GEs. Anyway, Merriam-Webster pronounces this as
Hegelian.
Okay. So that's Merriam-Webster. And
I didn't know. As we were talking about this and how we found two different pronunciations, it's fascinating because the more that the English language or any language is documented on the internet, it's easy for them to change these things. Perfect, like textbook 1984. And so the first pronunciation she played there is funny because we felt like that was the right wing pronunciation. And have you found the second pronunciation? Because there's a great we think we found the left wing pronunciation.
Hegelian dialectic.
No, the second one.
It didn't sound.
No, the second one was the lefty pronunciation.
Hegelian.
Hegelian. All right. So anyway, okay. So you guys got the meaning here. Mikey, I'm gonna let you go ahead and take over the show for the next 10 minutes or so. there are some very important examples in history for us to look back upon and um, uh, study study and get really serious about understanding, because what's going on right now, especially after the Stop the Steal on January 6th, it's making us question a lot of things. I mean, even the Proud Boys, if you haven't already heard, have a little bit of a Hegelian dialect perhaps going on in their organization right now. Brandon Straka just got arrested. There's a lot of news that I have for you, but I don't want to get into what's current right now because we all see what's happening. You can just go on Twitter. You can't go on Parler anymore, but some news is still on Twitter. Um, by the way, everyone, I do have a Gab account, so go find Red Pill Rage on Gab. But I want to, I'm doing this psy-ops series right now, and the Hegelian dialect can be used for, economics, marketing, advertising, but it's definitely something that's very, very present in politics, and not just even deeper than politics, just shaping culture and shaping value, shaping reactions, public reactions to things as well. The Hegelian dialect illustrates that how easily the human race can be cattled and manipulated into believing into whatever scapegoat or hero that the powers that be want to steer you toward.
Yeah, have already laid out.
Exactly, have already laid out. So it's easy to sell the sickness when you have the cure, right, Mikey?
Damn good example.
Yeah. Damn, just sounds like every every pharmaceutical commercial in the last 20 years. Side effects include death. Anyway,
you may poo yourself to death.
Mikey, go ahead and take it over with a couple of examples from antiquitous times as well up to modern times that you have found.
Well, I wanted to start with, that definition that we read. It's a lot to process. Like you said, if you're not an English major, you're kind of like, that sounds like a lot of big, dumb words that supposedly have meaning. But when you break it down at its simplest, it's problem, reaction, solution. You already have the solution before you make the problem, and then you wait for the people to demand the solution. And if you can create that situation, you already kind of understand how it's going to play out. And look at the COVID right now is a perfect example. They scared the shit out of everybody, and everybody wants the vaccine now. Well, maybe not everybody. I hope not. But to go back, and while me and her were talking about this, one of the best examples that most people don't know about is Rome with Caesar. And everybody's seen Gladiator. They knew that Russell Crowe's in the pit fighting, and they don't understand why he's fighting around the world. But they don't understand that what happened was Caesar set Rome on fire, or he had his men set Rome on fire. He blamed it on the Christians, and the population demanded results. So what did they do? They rounded up all the Christians and they threw them in the fucking pit to fight to the death. And it's not just about the problem and the solution. It's about the people being dumb enough to demand a reaction. And that went on for a long time. And people don't know that. These are small things that get twisted over time. They don't teach us this in school. And as you come up into the modern days, a lot of people don't know why we went to the war in Vietnam. And that all came from the Gulf of Tonkin incident. And the Gulf of Tonkin incident in 2011, it was declassified that was a false flag. The whole thing was there was a battleship in the Gulf of Tonkin just outside of Vietnam, and they said that we were fired upon. In reality, there was no firefight at all. And if you're anybody that does your homework, and this is a later topic, we're going to do another episode to talk about this too. The person that was in command of that battleship where they pulled off this false flag was Jim Morrison's father. And this connects all the way back to Lord.
Riders on the storm.
Yeah, this connects all the way back.
Into this house we're born, into this world we're thrown.
and we're going to do an episode later about Laurel Canyon, about how many influential people came from the same area and all had family that were very high up in the military. These are all psy-ops. They're all designed to twist us. And these are things that you can prove. They're, it's documented. Like I said, these are declassified files.
What were we talking about in terms of 9/11 and some lawsuit? No. Donald Rumsfeld had.
Oh, yeah.
Had been under investigation.
So they were doing an audit of the Pentagon, and I think I'm wanting to say it was Donald Rumsfeld. He did that announcement the day before 9/11 and said that the Pentagon and the State Department had lost, I don't have the exact number memorized, but it was in the billions. And, they were just like, we don't know where it went. And then the very next day, a plane flew into the Pentagon and blew up the exact office where they were going to start the investigation.
Hashtag 9/11 was an inside job.
Yeah, pretty much. But, and that was also about the oil wars, It's just crazy because all these things connect on so many different levels, and it's easy to get lost down that one rabbit hole when it's a spider web, and that's what the deep state is, and it's not just the deep state, it's the 13 bloodlines that have been running this place forever. We're the pawns, and there's so many other examples. She wants to keep this episode a little short, but this is a topic, like literally there's so many examples of this problem reaction solution. And like I said, just look at what's going on right now with COVID. It's a perfect example. It's textbook. And it's just sad to see people fall for it. I just think we need to educate each other,
And there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. The Hegelian. The Hegelian dialect. Work, bitch. Seriously, ladies and gentlemen, patriots, ragers, I have, since the beginning of my channel, been begging you guys to think, question. Look for patterns. And I am challenging each and every one of you to see the Hegelian dialect step by step in your life, in your community, even in your family, sometimes it happens, you know what I mean? For those of us who come from abusive families, but nonetheless.
Well, it's the destruction of family, which is why it becomes easier for them to pull these things off. They've tried to.
There you go.
They've tried to separate us so much, but the internet is a double-edged sword, because I think it blew up in their face because we've connected in ways, and people do homework in ways they weren't expecting. So, we've all woken up at different times in our life, and you just can't give up hope on trying to inform people, and one day when we're all informed, they can't pull this shit off anymore.
Exactly. And on that note, I think that's a really good close to the show. Thank you for being on the show, Mikey. I look forward to doing a few more episodes with you.
There's a lot of topics we can cover.
I know. It never ends. And don't forget, all roads lead to Rome. Anyhow, once again, Ragers, make sure you are liking, subscribing, commenting, and rating on iTunes if you're listening through iTunes. Otherwise, Spotify. Check out my website, www.redpillrage.net. Please come support me on the Patreon at American5%. I have 3 levels on there. They should all be affordable for all of you. And everyone, keep the patriots in your prayers. Keep each other in your prayers. Be praying for Brandon Straka. Pray for Enrique Tarrio. Pray for Joe Biggs. Pray for everyone else who is getting arrested. Some of the, what we call normies out there who were just looking to stand up for their rights, and now they are they're under federal prosecution. it's a sad day that our country has come to this. So keep everyone in your prayers, because we are about to face the tribulation, ladies and gentlemen. It is time to pay for our sins as a country, and it's going to get scary before it gets better. But make sure you keep the Hegelian dialect in mind when you are analyzing any information, any news, any information. Be looking at the cure. Be looking at the cure before you look at the sickness.